Hi, everyone. It's Mitch and Chris from SportsChatPlace.com here with your free picks in SEC college football, week 9 of the 2020 college football season. SportsChatPlace.com is our website. We're the first ones to bring you free picks in every game, every day. And, of course, we are still your number one source for free picks. Of course, if you're looking for our best bets, you can find that at the website underneath the Premium Picks tab. But, Chris, we've got a pretty good slate here of SEC football, so let's dig right into it and go through this slate of games and give out some free picks. First one on the slate for us is going to be Kentucky hosting Georgia. Kentucky 14.5-point favorites against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking at this game earlier on the week, and as soon as the line came out, and Kentucky, they've got to 2-3 this season, definitely better than the struggles they were having last year. This has still been a run-heavy offense that Kentucky's been running. The problem for me, though, is that Georgia's had a week to sort of lick their wounds after that horrible second half against Alabama. And this is still a Georgia team that's fourth in the nation stopping the run, so I'm imagining that defense is going to give Kentucky a hard time. I think Georgia's offense gets back to business here. I think they step up, and I think Georgia delivers us a convincing performance here. So I'm going to lay the points with Georgia in this one.
For me, I'm going to go the other side. I'm going to go with Kentucky. I think 14.5, just a little bit too much. I think Kentucky can keep this one close for a little while. I think Georgia wins it in the end. I think a little separation at the end. Just not so sure they get past that 14.5 number. So it's the Wildcats for me. We go to the second game on the board in the SEC this week, and that's going to take us to Auburn, where the Auburn Tigers are taking on the LSU Tigers. Auburn +3 in this one. The total set at 64.5.
Yeah, I could take the easy cop out and just say, hey, I'm going to pick the Tigers, but I don't think that's going to work for this one. But you know what? I think this is all going to come down to the status of Miles Brennan. I think if Miles Brennan goes here, and I'm going to lean maybe even towards Auburn because I think, it's that adage they use, much addition by subtraction. And I think LSU was a lot better with the freshman Finley last week. I like the way that LSU looked against South Carolina, and they racked up 52 points in that game. And, Auburn, they picked up the win against Ole Miss. They held the Rebels at 28, but I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I think Auburn has to do a little bit more, and I mean, it's no fault to him. He's the quarterback that he plays the way he does, but I think right now I'm going to lean towards LSU in this one.
I'm going to take LSU as well. I think they're just the more talented team. This is just not a great Auburn team. I know they're coming off of a win last week, but, man, there were some calls and some bounces that could have gone either way in that game. You get those bounces in an LSU game. I think LSU just too much talent. We got Vandy +17 against Ole Miss. Ole Miss just the one win on the season. Really, I thought they could have beaten Auburn last week. Matter of fact, I don't know. I still held out hope till the very, very end. Just seemed that, when they needed to get things done, they couldn't. And their defense, maybe a little bit better than we've seen them, but still not good enough.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm done trying to trust Vanderbilt. I mean, I know we're going to continue to get them in an underdog role for much of the rest, if not the whole season. And, I'm not trying to lay points with an Ole Miss team that's 1-4 on the road. Yes, they may be the better offensive team, but, they're also giving up points in bunches. I think I'm going to lean towards the under here. I think, giving up over 60 just because it's Ole Miss on the field doesn't really make a ton of logic to me when you consider that Vanderbilt's being held to less than 10 points a game this season. I just don't think, Vanderbilt could do enough to contribute to the number, and I think Ole Miss is just – they're not going to be able to score 60 on their own, so I'm going to take the under in this one.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss to rack up some big numbers. We've seen a lot of teams take out their frustration on Vandy this season. I think Ole Miss just racks up a really big number in this one. I think Vandy's going to put some points on the board, but I just don't think it's enough to keep up. I like Ole Miss and covering this big number. In our next game, we got another really big number. 31 points is the Tide play. The Alabama Crimson Tide host Mississippi State in Tuscaloosa. Mike Leach's team started the season big with that win over LSU, but really we haven't seen anything from them since.
Yeah, and got that right. And I mean, you look at Mississippi State, I was high on them after that LSU game. I thought, Mike Leach and his air raid offense may be a revelation to the SEC, but it turns out that just was an overreaction after 1 week, and Mississippi State hasn't done much of anything else since. And Alabama, say what you want, maybe they take their foot off the gas. Maybe they put their backups in, but I still think this is an Alabama team that's going to rack up points in a hurry against the Bulldogs. I could see this one being a 35-point win, something 49-14 or something along that line. Because putting up 48 points has been no issue for Alabama this year, so I'm going to lay the points with the Tide in this one.
I just don't think Nick Saban is a Mississippi State or Mike Leach fan. I think he's going for these workman-like efforts, and everyone is starting to play in these Alabama games and these blowouts, and that what that has meant is that they're still continuing to score late, which makes it even worse. I just think Alabama 31 is a big number. I'm probably not betting this one personally, but I'm going to take the Tide and lay the 31. In our next game, we've got Texas A&M taking on Arkansas. Normally, this game takes place in Jerry World in Dallas, but this one, in Arlington. But this one at College Station with the current environment. Texas A&M 12-point favorites, opened at 11. The total down to 54.5 from 56.
Yeah, and I like the way that the Aggies have played, especially against Florida. That 12th man makes College Station a hard place to go out on the road and win. But the thing is that Arkansas has taken a massive step forward already this season. They've played 3.5 games worth of pretty good football, just excluding the second half of that Georgia game. I mean, they've hung tight within all 3 of their games this season. That includes that win over Mississippi State. Hung tight with Auburn, and then they just held a pretty good Ole Miss team that's on offense to just 21 points in their win last time out. I think Arkansas keeps this one close as well. So I'm going to take. I think this one could be a game within a touchdown. I'm going to take Arkansas on the points in this one.
Yeah, I like Arkansas as well. I know a lot of people on Texas A&M, and you could look at the money movements and things like that. I think what a lot of people, this is the type of game where a lot of people miss the mark and just underestimate how big of a rivalry this game is, and how much it means to both sides. I think this is one of those college football rivalries that might not get the notoriety of some of the Auburn, Alabamas, and Michigan States, and Ohio State, Michigans of the world. But believe me, these two teams don't like each other very much, and that always makes for competitive games. So 12 points is a ton in a game like this. And we've got another game with a ton of points. The Florida Gators laying 13.5 against Mizzou. Certainly an improved Missouri team, but are they improved enough to go into the swamp and give the Gators a tough time?
Yeah, I think they are, but I also think that Florida's the better team here, and I think Dan Mullen's going to coach the Gators up after that loss to Texas A&M, and then there was a postponement in there as well. So the Gators are going to come into this one rested. Now, does rest equal rust? It's hard to say, but you know what? I think this line is almost dead on. I think this one's a 2-touchdown win for Florida. So as long as you can get it around 13.5, I like the Gators here. I think it's 38-24. So I'll take Florida in this one.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be betting this game, but I do think that Missouri can give Florida a hard time. It's just, do they do it in the swamp? With Mullen, who, he's the type of coach that I don't know. He's kind of a jerk about it, right? It's like he's not going to, show the sportsmanship and take his foot off the gas and give everyone a chance to play. He's just not that kind of coach. And it's more of an ego thing, I guess. But, I think Missouri is more of an up-and-comer. I think they can hang with Florida. I think this one stays under that 61.5. So I'll take the under 61.5 in the Florida-Missouri game. I think the game on the line here is very much a coin flip, at least at this point for me. Maybe we'll see some line movement that'll change my opinion, but at least at this time. But anyways, that's going to be our SEC picks for this week. Be sure to check out our other college football conference videos and, of course, our live shows every day at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do all of the different conferences. We're going to try a different style of doing these videos. So normally we do the games individually. This week we're going to try all the different conferences and then the weekday games we did individually. So be sure to check them all out right here on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel.